Oh, okay. It is recording. All right. We're going to do D last. We're going to do E next. Okay. What's A for E? 3. What's B? Nope. Careful. 0. There's no X term. And then C, because that's the one without a variable, that's our constant, then that's the -8. Does that make sense? Okay. So now let's set up our quadratic formula. So, here, I'll put it here. Here. I'll put it right there for a sec so that you don't have to flip back and forth. Okay, are we ready to go through? Yes or no? Are we ready? Yeah? Okay, first, denominator. So that's going to change to 6. What does -0 do? Nothing, it's just 0. Yeah. Okay, next, under the radical. Okay, be real careful on this one, because on this one, I have to use a negative sign and a subtraction sign. So make sure that you do it like you're careful when you use which piece, right? As you type it in. So it's minus the 4AC, but the 8 was negative, so that one used the negative sign. If you did it right, you should get 96. All right, so now the square root of 4, the last one we did, it was nice because square root of 4 was a nice whole number, right? It was just 2. It's always worth checking, but 96 is not a nice whole number this time, right? So I still have to simplify my radical. Anybody remember how we've learned how to simplify radicals? Factor tree. Yep. So tell me something that goes into 96. We got to do a factor tree. 8 and 12. Yep. And then 2 and 4. 2 and 2. 2 and 6, 2 and 3. Any pairs? Yeah, there's a pair of 2s. Is that my only pair? Yeah, there we go. So there's 2 pairs of 2. So 4 on the outside, and what's left over? 6. Good. All over 6. Now I'm on reduce. 0 doesn't make it any harder because anything goes into 0. It's just 0 divided by 2, 3, 4 is just 0, right? Okay? So when I'm looking though, be careful. We're not looking at the 6. That's not like terms with anything. We're looking at the number in front. Okay? So is there a number that goes into 0, 4, and 6? 2. Right? 0 divided by 2 is still 0. So it goes into it evenly. So I can reduce everything by 2. Again, I don't divide into the radical because that's not like terms. Just the thing in front is. Last, split. Now on the other one we did, I had another step after this because I had to combine the pieces. But on this one, they're not like terms, right? I can't combine a radical and a non-radical, so I'm done. Oh no, that's not. Come on. All right, I'm going to stop here for questions. I know it's a lot of algebra, so it sucks. Okay, but what questions do you have before we do one last example for today?
Do we have to leave the 0 there?
No. All right, other questions before we do one more example? Okay, let's do one more. I'm going to have you change this one though because I want to talk about a different situation. So change this to plus 5. Okay, so change that to a plus 5. Last one and then we're done. Okay? Can I figure out A, B, and C yet? Is that in standard form, guys? What does one side have to equal for it to be in standard form? 0, right? So before I can do anything, I need to move these over. I'm going to write A equals, B equals, and C equals up here. So how do I move the 8 over? There we go. Subtract it on both sides. Minus the 5x on both sides, because remember I changed it. So that's our standard form. So A is what? Shout it out. What's A? 5. B? What's going on today? Come on. What's B? Brayden, what's B? There we go. And Olivia, what's C? You got it. Good. Okay. Okay, take a second and try and do the setup. Okay, I have it written here so you don't have to flip back and forth. Notice there's 2 negatives on that first piece. One is from the formula and one is because our B is negative. First thing is I'll change my denominator to 10. Then I do under. Careful of your negative and your subtraction. So there's what it should look like typed in. If you typed it in right, you should have gotten 185. How does this simplify? Right here? Yeah, the two negatives make a positive, so it's just positive 5. Good. So now I gotta see if 185 is a perfect square. Sadly, it's not. So I gotta make my factor tree. So tell me a number that goes into 185. 37 and 5, good. Okay. If it ends in 5, I know I can always start with 5. Does that go down any further? No, 37's prime, so I'm done. And there's no pairs, right? So what that tells me, if there's no pairs, then that doesn't simplify. Okay? Now I'm ready for the reduce step, but you got to be careful here because I'm looking at 5, 10, and 1, not 5, 10, and 185, right? Because 185 is under the radical, so it's not like terms. So nothing reduces in this fraction because nothing goes into 1, the invisible number in front. Okay? I don't reduce it with the 185 because that's the radical. Like on this one, we didn't get rid of the 6, right? It was the number in front that we had to reduce it with. So on this one, it doesn't reduce at all. So I'm ready to split it. And those are my two answers. Questions? Okay, I have two big tips for you anytime you type it in your calculator. Okay, the first one is always put B in parentheses. Always put your B in parentheses. And the next one is to be careful of using negative versus subtraction. Get out your green notes, please, guys. We're going to add this to that, and then we're done.